Welcome back to Musically Speaking.
So Andreas Boyde is the pianist for this coming week. Fantastic pianist, originally from Germany and lives right now in London. Has literally played with Prague Radio, Zurich Chamber Orchestra, Bamberg, Halle, Bolshoi. I mean, you name it. Berlin Symphony Orchestra, with every orchestra in Europe. Anyway, so he's on the line from London, England. Welcome to the program. And just to kick it off, I mean, you are German. You grew up, I think, in former East Germany. Is this right?
Yes, I grew up in Dresden, and I went to school there, which in those days used to be East Germany. And I came to London to study at the Guildhall School of Music and Drama. Fell in love with the city and stayed there ever since.
That's so interesting. So, because I'm reading here actually that your mentor is Malcolm Frager.
Yes.
Because we knew Malcolm Frager. Malcolm Frager, just for our listeners, was one of the very beautiful top pianists in the world who passed away way too early. He died 20 years ago or something. But how did you meet him?
Well, that's an interesting story. He performed with the Dresden State Orchestra, and it was, for me, one of the most amazing and life-changing experience to hear him in concert. We got in contact, and he became a teacher and a mentor. He also took me to Switzerland for a masterclass he gave at the Musikfestwoche in Luzern, and that was also the first time I was able to leave the Eastern Bloc in those days.
Which year was that?
In 1987.
So how were you allowed to leave, actually? Because the wall came down 1989. What happened there?
It was an unbelievable story, because the whole thing went to the Ministry of Culture.
Wow.
And despite the fact that I was observed by the Stasi, the secret police in East Germany, and they even started an operation called Concert, just observing me.
That's amazing. So and then you flew to Switzerland.
I actually took the train via West Berlin. The whole thing was quite an experience. I started with Malcolm for 2 weeks, and afterwards we always stayed in contact.
So, and how did you start your career in former East Germany?
Yeah, they were very big on talents, and they did a lot for them, but it always came with a price tag.
Yeah.
But for me, to be actually at the music school in Dresden, which was based on the Moscow Special School of Music, for me that was a haven, and I really loved being there.
Now, the piano concerto you're going to perform, Bartók's Third Piano Concerto, was his last, or he composed two last pieces at the same time, his viola concerto and the Bartók and the piano concerto. What's your take on that from a pianist's view, Bartók, compared to Beethoven, the classics? What's your perception of like a 20th century composer writing such difficult music and became a classic almost by himself already?
Yeah, I think it's very interesting that Bartók, in his Third Piano Concerto and also in his Viola Concerto, he actually returns to more classical ideas, and it comes closer to a Beethoven Piano Concerto, so to speak, in comparison to the First and Second Piano Concerto. And I think it's really touching, especially the slow movement, which he composed in North Carolina, and the bliss of the countryside and the bird song. It's really reflected in the music, and it's very beautiful. And of course, it's a very challenging concerto.
Well, it's interesting because you say on the one hand, I mean, you mentioned that second movement that is inspired by, the countryside, I guess. And then there is something very Hungarian about the last movement again. So it's like almost, it is a very international piece also, I feel.
I think every composer would like to push the boundaries of pianism. And I think in this case, Bartók is a great advocate.
Right. And then the other thing that I like is that there is something also a little bit jazzy to it. It moves forward. Do you feel that way?
After all, he lived in the United States, and there was jazz, in music every corner. And I think it really reflects in his music.
Well, thank you so much, Andreas Boyde, everybody, this coming weekend at the Centennial Concert Hall. Thank you.